No, you don't need to rely on app blockers to beat your corn addiction. You don't need to do those cringe accountability partner check-ins every day. You don't need to sit or praying for God to save you without doing anything. But of course you should pray, but God expects you to work your way to overcoming your addiction. And so, you need just 90 days with NoFap. That's how long it takes to completely rewire your brain and break free from the cycle that's been controlling your life. But here's the thing, most guys fail within the first 2 weeks because they're fighting this battle completely wrong. They think willpower alone will save them. They think prayer alone will deliver them. They think avoiding triggers is the solution. That's wrong, and wrong again. Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to tell you. You're not failing because you lack willpower. You're failing because you're fighting a war with a water gun while your enemy has nuclear weapons. Today we're talking about something that controls more men than they care to admit. Something that's rewiring your brain, destroying your confidence, and turning you into a shadow of who you could be. And if you think this is just another motivational speech about cold showers and meditation, then you can quit the video and move on. What I'm about to share with you is the exact blueprint that took me from rock bottom to 90 days clean, and it's not what you expect. I spent 3 years trying every method under the sun. Cold showers, meditation apps, blocking software, praying harder, reading self-help books until my eyes bled. Nothing worked, because I was treating the symptoms, not the root cause. I was trying to fight an addiction that feeds on isolation by becoming more isolated. I was trying to cure a dopamine dependency by removing dopamine instead of replacing it with something better. Then I discovered something that changed everything. The addiction isn't really about what you think it's about. It's about your brain desperately searching for connection, validation, and excitement in all the wrong places. And once I figured out how to redirect that search, everything shifted. 90 days clean turned into 6 months, then a year, then a complete transformation of who I am as a person. But first, let's destroy the myths that are keeping you trapped. You can white knuckle your way through this. Wrong. Willpower is a finite resource. It's like trying to hold your breath underwater forever. Eventually you'll come up gasping for air, and that's when you relapse. The successful approach isn't about fighting harder, it's about running smarter. Here's what actually works. Step 1. Identify your specific triggers with surgical precision. Most people think they know their triggers, but they're wrong. They'll say boredom or stress, but that's surface level garbage. You need to go deeper. For me, it wasn't just loneliness. It was that specific type of loneliness that hit around 8:30 at night when I was alone in my apartment, had finished all my work, and felt disconnected from any meaningful human interaction. Write this down. Every single time you get an urge, note exactly what you were doing, what time it was, what emotions you were feeling, who you talked to that day, what you'd eaten, how much sleep you'd gotten. Track it like a scientist studying his own brain. After 2 weeks, you'll see patterns that will blow your mind. Step 2, and this is where everyone gets it wrong. You cannot replace a high dopamine activity with meditation and expect it to work. Your brain is literally wired for the massive dopamine hit that comes from this addiction. You need to feed it something equally powerful but healthy, and there's only one thing that matches that level of neurochemical reward: real human connection and physical intimacy. I know what you're thinking, but here's the thing. You're going to start approaching women, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when you've built up your confidence, today, right now. Because every day you spend isolated is another day your brain associates dopamine with pixels on a screen instead of real human beings. Start simple. Make eye contact with 3 women today. That's it. Tomorrow, give genuine compliments to 2 strangers. Day 3, start actual conversation. Day 4, ask for a phone number. This isn't about getting a girlfriend immediately. This is about rewiring your brain to seek validation and excitement from real interactions instead of artificial ones. Your brain needs to learn that beautiful women exist in real life, not just on screens. Every conversation you have, every smile you get, every rejection you handle with grace is training your dopamine system to respond to reality instead of fantasy. But here's the part that separates winners from losers. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to stop being the person who sits in his room making excuses about why approaching women is too hard or too scary or too whatever. Because that person will never break free from this addiction. That person will keep relapsing forever. The truth hurts, but someone needs to say it. If you're not willing to push through social anxiety, if you're not willing to risk rejection, if you're not willing to fundamentally change how you interact with the world, then you're not serious about recovery. Step 3, and this is where most people bail out because it requires actual effort. You need to flood your system with real-world dopamine sources that match the intensity of what you're giving up. Gym sessions that leave you gasping for air, not those pathetic 20-minute treadmill walks. I'm talking about deadlifts that make your hands shake, sprints that burn your lungs, workouts that trigger the same neurochemical cascade you've been chasing on screens. But physical intensity alone won't cut it. You need social intensity too. Join groups, attend events, put yourself in situations where you're forced to interact with attractive women regularly. Salsa, dancing classes, rock climbing gyms, volunteer work, anywhere beautiful women gather. Your brain needs to understand that excitement and arousal come from real environments, not digital fantasies. Here's what your daily blueprint looks like starting tomorrow. 6 in the morning, you're awake. Cold shower, brutal workout, real breakfast while planning your social interactions for the day. No scrolling, no checking anything online until you've had at least 3 meaningful conversations with real humans. By noon, you've approached 2 women. Doesn't matter if you're terrified. Terror means you're doing it right. Your nervous system needs to learn that beautiful women are part of your reality, not something you observe from behind a screen. Every conversation rewires your dopamine pathways away from artificial stimulation toward authentic human connection. Evenings are crucial. This is prime relapse time for most guys. Instead of sitting alone, you're either on dates, at social events, or engaging in high-energy activities with other people. Board game nights, sports leagues, anything that keeps you connected to real humans instead of retreating into isolation. But here's the game changer nobody talks about. You have to train your brain to redirect automatically when you see triggers. Because in today's world, you can't avoid attractive women in advertisements, social media, or walking down the street. The goal isn't to hide from beauty. The goal is to transform your response to it. When you see an attractive woman, instead of letting your mind wander into fantasy, you immediately redirect that energy into planning your next real-world interaction. You see her beauty and think, that reminds me I need to approach 3 women today. You transform the trigger into motivation for authentic action. Week 2 through 4, continue approaching beautiful women, but now you're adding dates to the mix. Real coffee meetings, real dinners, real physical escalation with real human beings. Your brain starts understanding that excitement and pleasure come from genuine connections, not digital substitutes. Month 2, you're not just approaching anymore. You're building genuine relationships, having regular intimate experiences with real women, creating a social circle that supports your new lifestyle. Your brain has completely rewired itself to seek satisfaction from reality instead of screens. Month 3, you become the person who doesn't even think about the old habits because your life is too full of real experiences, real relationships, real satisfaction. You've trained your brain to associate pleasure with authentic human connection instead of artificial stimulation. The choice is simple but brutal. Either get up right now and start this process, or stay exactly where you are for the next year, relapsing every 2 weeks, feeling ashamed, making excuses about why real change is too hard. Stop being the guy who talks about change and become the guy who actually changes. Your 90 days start the moment you close this video and approach the first woman you see. Part 2 drops next week with advanced strategies for handling the toughest situation. Don't miss it, and don't waste another day being a prisoner to pixels on a screen.